Hi, this is David McCann for Elementor 360. In this video, I want to take a look at Happy Add-ons. I first reviewed Happy Add-ons a little over a year ago. The Pro version had not yet been released, and it was still very new. My conclusion at the time was that it had a lot of promise, and it was something to watch, but there were some shortcomings. Fast forward to today, and Happy Add-ons is one of the premier Elementor add-ons. There are so many features, and the team is frequently adding new ones, that I knew it was time to do another review. There is a free version of Happy Add-ons available in the WordPress plugin directory. We can see that it is regularly updated, it has more than 100,000 active installs, 5-star rating, and the support team is very active in helping users. When you install the free version of Happy Add-ons and activate it, this menu is created here, and there's a page with all of the widgets. You can see the ones where the toggle is grayed out. Those are Pro widgets, and right now we just have the free version activated. But one of the things I like about the add-on, and it's a sign of a good quality add-on, is that they have the ability to disable any of the widgets that you're not going to use. So that helps to keep the Elementor editor from getting overloaded. So here I am in the Elementor editor. I have a page here. And let's look at the free widgets. There are 39 of them. Wow, that's as many as some free Plus Pro add-on packs. And this is just the free ones. A lot of them are standard widgets like you find in many add-on packs like info box or card or icon box, slider, and whatnot. And then there are a number of widgets that let you style a third-party contact form. So like here's a widget for contact form 7. Here's one for WP forms and Ninja forms, Caldera forms, We forms, Gravity forms, and Fluent forms. So you see they have support for quite a few different forms plugins. And then there are a few widgets that are a little unusual. The skill bars, the gradient heading, the step flow, fun factor, 360 rotation, and horizontal timeline, for instance. And so we're going to come back and look at some of these. I'm just doing an overview here first. If we look on the Happy Add-ons website, we can see that they have the list of widgets here. Looks like there are 55 in total. So these are the free ones and these are the pro ones. But one thing I wanted to show, and we'll see this again, but for all of their widgets and their extensions, you can click on one and you go to a page that has examples. And there's often a little helper video here that gives you an overview of how to use the widget. So that's a nice addition to the normal documentation. And then there's a long list here of features. Some of these are extensions, and some of them are kind of features outside of Elementor. And of the extensions, some of them are free, and some of them are premium only. And we're going to look at most of these. But I just wanted to point one thing out here before we go on. And that is that Happy Add-ons is coded for on-demand asset loading. So what this means is when you're on the front of the site, it's only going to load the JavaScript and styles for things that are used on that page. It's not going to load all of the Happy Add-ons scripts. So that's another nice performance enhancement and another sign of a quality add-on. And if we look at the pricing, we see that it comes in an annual or lifetime, and then it's 1 site, 5 sites, or 1,000 sites. And the intro starter tier does not have the cross-domain copy-paste or the upcoming site sync feature, so that's something to keep in mind. But otherwise, they all share the same features. However, there's one interesting difference, and that is that on the lower tier, you have a 24-hour support response time. On the medium tier, it's 12 hours. And on the largest tier, it's 6 hours. So that's kind of interesting. They've tied the support response time to the tier. Then they also have a lifetime license. Same thing, 1, 5, or 1,000 sites. And so that will be interesting for some people. And if we go back to our site now, and let's activate the premium version. And before we go into the editor and look at the widgets that come with the premium version, there's one extension that is not Elementor specific. It's this one here. It's called Happy Clone. And basically for your posts and pages, you get an option to clone them. And when you clone it, it creates a copy of the article with a slightly modified title and puts it into draft mode. So that's a really nice feature, can be a good convenience, and it saves you having to go and install another plugin to add that. Okay, so now let's go back into the editor. Let's refresh the page. And here are the free widgets, and here are the pro widgets. So you can see there are quite a few there. Again, some of these are standard widgets that you find in a lot of add-ons, like a flip box or a pricing table, a countdown, testimonial carousel, tabs, things like that. But then there are a few that are more unique. For example, the advanced heading is kind of nice, and we're going to look at these. I'm just kind of pulling them out. There's a timeline. There are a bunch of charts. There's a line chart, a pie chart, a polar chart, a radar chart. So those are a little unusual. This smart post list is kind of nice. And then there's an advanced data table, so that looks interesting. So these are the pro add-ons. Now let's look at some of the extensions. I'm going to add just a regular heading here. Let's give the section a little margin to move it down. And then let's add some padding to this. So let's say top we want 50 and bottom we want 40. That looks pretty good. Then let's go in and go typography, and we'll just make the heading here a blue color. Okay, and let's give it a background, say a very light blue. Okay, so here's the first extension we're going to look at. If you go here to the section, there's this option for a wrapper link. So you can give a URL here, and the whole section then will be clickable. Let's update that. Go look at it on the front end. And you can see we can click anywhere. We don't have to just click on the words. So that's the link wrapper option. Now I'm going to go to Style, and there's this particle effects option. I'm going to toggle that on, and you see these little like stars. This is the NASA effect. Let's make the particle color a little darker so it's a little easier to see it. You can adjust the opacity, and in the advanced settings we can increase the number of particles and make particles a little bigger. Whoops, that's too much. Okay, and we can adjust the speed. Alright, then let's adjust the particle color a little more. There, that's better. Alright, then there are 4 styles. There's this NASA style. There's polygons, which I kind of like, where you have the same circles, but they're linked with a line. And there is a snow option, which is where your particles are falling. And then, interestingly, there's a custom option where you can go to a website. They have a link here, and you can create your own particle animation and copy the JSON from that site into here to make something custom. So anyway, that's, I think, an interesting feature if you want to add a little interactivity. Let's just save this. Happy Addons Pro has this feature called Live Copy, which is an interesting idea. Let's go to here and find a widget here. So we have this row here, this section here, and you notice it gives us live copy option. So when we click on this, now we can go back to our site. Let's add a section here. Right click, and we can go live paste. Wow, so it copied the example from their website over. So that's kind of a cool feature. But it gets even cooler. Let's edit this section. And under Advanced, we're going to go to Enable Live Copy. And let's update that. And now go to the front of our site, our example preview page. Here are our particle effects. Now look what happens when I hover over this section. I get the same live copy option as from the Happy Addons website. So you can allow other people to copy your designs, or you can enable this if you want to copy some of your designs from one site to another. So anyway, that's kind of an interesting feature. Then another feature they have, which is kind of similar, is you can copy a section on one website. This is called cross-domain copy-paste. So you can copy the section on one site, and then you go and you can paste it in on another website. So similar, but a little different because you're copying from within the editor. The next thing that I wanted to show you, let's turn this feature off, is display conditions. So here we have the option to show an element or hide an element, whether all conditions have to be met or any condition is met. And then if you're doing something that relies on date or time, whether it's based on the server time or the local user's time. All right, so here are the conditions here. There's login status, if you're logged in or not. There's user role. There's operating system, user browser, a date range, a date, a time, or day of the week. These display conditions are a nice feature if you have, say, a membership site and you want to show something to members, but you don't want non-members to see it. Or maybe you're having a holiday sale, so you would use the date range feature to show the widget on the days when the sale was active and then hide it on the other days. So that's the display conditions feature, which is nice. Now, another feature they have here is an image masking feature. Let's add a row here and we'll add an image in. Let's pick one from the media library. All right, so here's our image, and you notice that Happy Addons has added this image masking link. So we can click on that. And there we get an image mask. You see it shows through according to the shape. So there are quite a few shapes there. And you can choose one that works for you. Like there's a triangle. And then you can position the shape and you can adjust the size. For example, you can go to custom and you can set the size as you want it to be. So that's kind of cool. And there's also an option up here, if you don't want to use one from their library, you can upload your own custom shape. So that's nice there also. So I'm going to save that, and we'll go on to floating effects. The floating effects are on the advanced menu, and you enable that. And then you have three choices. You have translate, rotate, or scale. So if we go into translate, you can move it on the X or Y axis. You have a duration, how long you want the animation or effect to last for, and then a delay if you want it to wait to start. You can kind of see it moving back there a little bit already. Notice there are two items here on the... Here, let's do this one then this way. There you go, so you get kind of a bounce effect with that. Let's turn that one off. Then there's rotate. Yep, you get the idea with that one. And then there's scale. And so, yeah, so you can scale larger or smaller. So those are the floating effects. The CSS transforms are similar but also different. You have translate, rotate, scale, and skew. So those are very similar. However, one thing that I like about this is that you have the option to do it on hover. So for example, we can say now when we go and mouse over, the element expands and gets bigger. And so that's that feature. You can do it for a button or something. that's the CSS transform effect. Then Happy Addons has another feature. Let's just add a section here. And you know, Elementor lets you add an intersection, right? But that's kind of as deep as you can go. You can't add another section in here. If you try to add an intersection in there, it won't let you. Like here, you can do it below or above or whatever. But Happy Addons has this option where you can right click and you can go add nested section. And so there you get another section inside of a section. It's kind of a third type of section. From section, intersection, you have nested section. So that sometimes can be useful if you're making a complex layout, or you want to layer things, or you want to have some effects, for example, where you have an image over a background and you want them to move, you want the image to move and the background to stay in position or to move in a different direction or something. So that can be useful for those kinds of things. Just gonna delete that for the moment, and let's save. The last extension I want to look at is this grid layer extension. Some people like to work with a grid layer, and you can have up to 12 columns, and you can adjust the width and the offset and the gutter, z-index, and you can change the grid color, and you can adjust the grid by device size, so that might be useful. I personally don't use a grid much, but if you were doing some really precise design, then it would be useful. Like you could see this one overlaps on the edges, and if I needed to keep it inside the grid, I would have made it a little smaller. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off. And those are the extensions that I wanted to look at. And now I want to look at some of the widgets. And the first thing I want to look at in relation to widgets, let's add a section here and let's add some widgets. Some Happy Addons widgets. Let's add an info box. Let's add a card, and let's get an image for this. And now let's add let's say a slider. Let's add some images here. A couple more. One more, let's say this one. Okay, and we'll just delete that slide. Alright, so now what I wanted to show you, let's look at the info box. Happy Addons comes with something called presets. And what these are, they're basically pre-designed versions of the widgets to help you get started quickly. You know, it's just designing the components, these kind of multi-component widgets where you have like an icon, a title, button, whatnot. So let's look at some of those. Here's design 1, here's design 5, here's design 9, here's design 12. Sometimes that might help you get a faster start. Let's look at the ones for the card widget. Design 2. Here, let's look at 13. Alright, so you get the idea. And the slider has the same thing, just kind of interesting. There it's got rounded corners. There you have the buttons on the side. You got the square buttons, and it's rotating up. The presets are something that are available for a lot of the widgets, not all of them. Like if you look at something like image compare, let's drop that one over here. You see it doesn't have a preset option. That's the widget presets. A lot of the widgets have that. It's kind of a nice addition, help you get going faster. Now let's look at a few of the, I think I'm just going to delete this for now. Okay, so let's look at a few of the other widgets that are available. Here's skill bars. So this is interesting. You see how it animated, and that would animate normally when it came into view. It has, you know, preset designs also. So here it's like a repeater. You can choose your label and out of 100 how many it has, and you can customize the color and the background color. So that's kind of a nice widget that you might use. And then here's a horizontal timeline widget. You know, an interesting thing here is you have your timeline with the dates and you can scroll through. This is a repeater here. You define what your items are. And then you have the option to show the calendar or some different icon. And if we look at the settings, you can hide the arrows. You can adjust the speed. You can go in an infinite loop so it's going to repeat. And you can decide how many slides to have visible at a time. So that's kind of an interesting slider. All right, now let's look at some of the others. Let's look at some of the pro ones. There's this advanced heading widget, which I think is kind of nice. Let's look at some of the presets here. You have 3 elements that you can customize to get your look. So this looks kind of cool. You know, you have your before, center, and after text. You can have background text and a link and a layout, and then there's style options for each of those and the border and the background text. So that's kind of a cool looking heading. Let's look at some of the other pro add-ons. Here's a timeline. So you've probably seen ones like that before. That can be useful depending on what it is you're showing. And there are a bunch of designs for that as well. That one's kind of ugly. But anyway, you get the idea. And you have your repeater here to add new elements. And then your settings for what you're going to show. And then style options. Let's continue on. Let's take a look at one of the charts. There's a line chart, pie chart, polar area chart, radar chart. So let's try one of these. See how easy this is. You've got your repeater, give your label and your data out of 100, and then it creates your pie for you. So that's very simple to use and looks nice. Haven't seen too many chart widgets in different add-on packs. There are several post widgets. This one, Smart Post List, is my favorite of theirs. And the reason for that is it's really easy to set up. You've got this option for filters. These are just categories. It pulls those in kind of by itself, and that's easy. You can have those filters show in a drop down or inline. So that's nice. You can change the color of these. That kind of doesn't match. You can have this option for the featured post and decide what you're going to show on the featured post and on the other posts. So like on the post list, we could add the date, for instance. You have alignment options, image size options. For the query, you could use posts or pages, or you can manually select them. I think custom post types works here. And you can include or exclude here if you want it by category. I like this widget because it's easy, and I like it because it's easy to get the filters on there. That's the Smart Post List. Then there's this advanced data table. I was a little disappointed with this one. Here, let's give this a little space on the top and bottom. So I was a little disappointed in this one. I mean, it looks really powerful. You have Google Sheet. You can use a table press table, a database table from your site's database, or you can import a CSV file. For Google Sheet, they say, get your API key. So let's go see what that looks like. And here you go into APIs and services. So you're going to have to create one here. This is a little bit of a barrier for average users. You're going to have to read some help text and kind of figure out how to do this here. I have seen other table add-ons where you can share, the Google Sheet and just add the URL in. That would have been a little bit easier. But there are some other options here. I don't have table press installed, but let's look at the database. So we can select the table we want, like let's say we want posts, and it pulls in the columns from the posts table. Unfortunately, it doesn't let you pick what columns you're going to use, because otherwise you could choose the columns that made sense for your table. So this is not quite as flexible as you need. I mean, if you look at the settings, you have the option, and this is cool, you have the option to enable search or pagination, or let people have a button where people can export. So that's nice. Let's go and look at the last one, which is import. I found a CSV file that I had used a long time ago. I tweaked that so it would work here. And it's a table of hybrid SUVs. And that's what this looks like. And that seems to work pretty well. But anyway, that looks nice. And if you have a CSV file, then you can use this for showing that data. Okay, so last one I want to look at here. There was a free one here that was kind of interesting. Fun factor. Let's add that one. You can see, like, basically you've seen these kinds of widgets before where you have, so many happy clients, and then you go to this one and you say, let's see, shake hands, and you say contracts signed, right? And then you go to this one and you go find an icon for this one that you want to use. Dollars earned. Alright, so anyway, you get the idea. So that's kind of an interesting one. I think you could assemble this from different add-ons like a counter and an icon and whatnot. But anyway, that's kind of cool looking. Then Happy Addons also comes with some templates, a template library that you access by clicking on the laughing guy icon. And it comes with 376 blocks. You can see those are nice. You can filter them by category. And then it comes with 61 pages. And those are nice. And I think these are maybe just a little bit more of a spirit design than some that I've seen. But anyway, so these are the pre-designed blocks and pages, the template library. And so now in summary and conclusion, Happy Addons is a comprehensive Elementor add-on with lots of widgets and lots of extensions. I didn't encounter any bugs when testing it, and things worked as they should. I've been following Happy Addons for over a year, and it's gotten a number of updates, so I'm glad to see that it's getting regular enhancements and fixes. I had to consult the demo pages a couple of times to see how a few of the extensions worked, and the nice thing is that there is a demo page for each widget and each feature that has instructions and a short video. And I think the ability to live copy the demos to my development site is pretty cool. It's hard to judge prices, but Happy Addons seems a little higher priced than many of the other Elementor add-ons. The good news is that the company has periodic sales. So if I bought mine on Black Friday. I was a little bit disappointed that there were not more advanced widgets that take advantage of dynamic tags and dynamic data. Perhaps the Happy Addons team wanted to make sure that all the features worked in both versions of Elementor. But the most advanced widget, the dynamic table, was a little too hard to use at its fullest. I was a little disappointed in that one. There are two big strengths to Happy Addons. The large number of extensions that we looked at first, that's more than most add-on packs have, and the extensions seem to be straightforward and logical to use. Some of them provide a nice way to add some visual engagement, while others make development easier. In terms of the widgets, I found them to be easy to use and attractive. The presets are nice for getting something that's well designed up quickly. And I like the fact that you're able to disable the widgets you're not going to use, and that the Happy Addons only loads the resources that you need on the front end to help with page speed. So those are nice features. Overall, I found Happy Addons to be very solid and extensive general purpose add-on. So that's my review of Happy Addons. There's a text version of the video available on the Elementor 360 website, along with other walkthroughs, tutorials, and resources. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching.